Kopidana Balaba Grivadari Jaya Grivadari Sodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Sodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Yamunadiravatari Jaya Kunja Vihari Yamunadiravatari Jaya Kunja Vihari Yamunadiravatari Jaya Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Kopidana Balaba Grivadari Jaya Grivadari Kopidana Balaba Grivadari Jaya Grivadari Sodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Sodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Sodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jaya Raja Janaranjana Yamunadiravachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamunadiravachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Brahmhangsa Pravadakasharya Asadhara Sadhu Some devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskatya De Siddharne Om Ayana Tivrandasya Garanjana Salakaya Chakso Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Vitam Scha Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhana Siddha Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Trivyacha Kripa Sindhuvyavacha Patidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Paranitananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 12. Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead, text number 43. Yakshatra Bandura Bhuvi Tasya. Yakshatra Bandura Bhuvi Tasya Diru. Yakshatra Bandura Bhuvi Tasya Diru. Yakshatra Bandura Bhuvi Tasya Dirudam. Yakshatra Bandura Bhuvi Tasya Dirudam. Anvarurukhed Apivarshapungai. Anvarurukhed Apivarshapungai. Shat Panchavarsho Yadaho Bir Alpai. Prasadya Vaikuntam Avapya Tatpadam. Yakshatra Bandura Bhuvi Tasya Dirudam. Anvarurukhed Apivarshapungai. Shat Panchavarsho Yadaho Bir Alpai. Prasadya Vaikuntam Avapya Padam. Yakshatra Bandur Bhuvitasya Dirudam. Anvarurukhed Apivarshapungai. Ladies, Rabandura Bhuvitasya Dirudam. Anvarukhed Apivarshapungai. Sat Panchavarsho Yadaho Bir Alpai. Prasadya Vaikuntam Papya Padam. Ya, one who, Kshatrabandhu, the son of a Brahmin, the son of a Kshatriya. Do we have some translation going on? Okay. Bhuvi, on the earth. Tasya, of Dhruva. Adirudam, the exalted position. Anu, after. Arurukshet, can aspire to obtain. Api, even. Varshapugai, after many years. Shat Panchavarsha, 5 or 6 years old. Yat, which. Ahobi alpai, after a few days. Prasadya, after pleasing. Vaikuntam, the Lord. Avapa, attain. Tatpadam, his abode. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Dhruva Maharaj attained an exalted position at the age of only 5 or 6 years, after undergoing austerity for 6 months. Alas, a great Kshatriya cannot achieve such a position even after undergoing austerities for many, many years. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj is described herein as a Kshatriya Bandhu, which indicates that he was not fully trained as a Kshatriya because he was only 5 years old. He was not a mature Kshatriya. A Kshatriya or Brahmana has to take training. A boy born in the family of a Brahmana is not immediately a Brahmana. He has to take up the training and the purificatory process. The great sage Narada was very proud of having a devotee, disciple like Dhruva Maharaj. He had many other disciples, but he was very pleased with Dhruva Maharaj because in one lifetime, by dint of his severe penances and austerities, he had achieved Vaikuntha, which was never achieved by any other king's son or Rajarshi throughout the whole universe. There is an instance of the great king Bharata, who was also a great devotee, but he attained Vaikuntha Loka in 3 lives. In the first life, although he executed austerities in the forest, he became a victim of too much affection for a small deer. And in his next life, he had to take birth as a deer. Although he had a deer's body, he remembered his spiritual position. But he still had to wait until the next life for perfection. In the next life, he took birth as Jada Bharata. Of course, in that life, he was completely freed from all material entanglement, and he attained perfection and was elevated to Vaikuntha Loka. The lesson from the life of Dhruva Maharaj is that if one likes, he can attain Dhruva Loka in one life, without waiting for many other lives. My Guru Maharaj, Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, used to say that every one of his disciples could obtain Vaikuntha Loka in this life without waiting for another life to execute devotional service. One simply has to become serious and sincere as Dhruva Maharaj, then it's quite possible to obtain Vaikuntha Loka and go back home, back to Godhead in one life. Dhruva Maharaj attained an exalted position at the age of only 5 or 6 years old. After undergoing austerity for 6 months, alas, a great Kshatriya cannot achieve such a position even after undergoing austerities for many, many years. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyatyade Sadharane. Prabhupada mentions that the goal of life is to go back to the spiritual world, or at least to be in pure consciousness of Krishna. And generally speaking, that takes many lifetimes to achieve that. As Krishna says, Bonam Janmanamante Jnanamamam Prapadyante Vasudeva Saramiti Saramahatma Sudurlabhaha. After passing through many births, the wise man who's a knowledge of me surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great devotee such a person is very rare. So it's very rare to become a pure devotee of Krishna, but at the same time Krishna also says, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mamupashritya Bahava Jnana Tapasa Puta Madbhavam Agata. Being free from attachment and fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many, many persons of the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. So, Bahuva, many, many persons in the past. So the question is, it's difficult if we want to make it difficult, and it's simple if we want to make it simple. But we have to accept what's being presented to us. That's the difficulty. That 5,000 years ago, Krishna says, Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mama vaishasi satyam te pratijani priyosimi. Always think of me, become my devotee, offer your homage unto me, surrender unto me. The result is you'll come to me without fail. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. So that's the formula to always think about Krishna. Or as Prabhupada writes, one should organize his life in such a way as that throughout the 24 hours a day, one cannot help but think about Krishna. Such a simple thing to organize our life like that. The only problem is that we don't want to do that. We have so many other things to fit into our schedule other than that we find it very difficult. Or we don't even, the best way of not doing it is just forget about it. Thank you, Krishna, for your advice, but sorry. It's like Dhritarashtra told by Akrura that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Your sons are opponents of great devotees of Krishna. They're all going to get into difficulty. You're going to be the cause of it because you won't give your sons good advice. And Dhritarashtra's answer was, yes, it's true, I believe Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I understand he's come here to take away the burden from the earth. I understand that my sons are all burdened. They're all going to be killed. But I have too much affection for my sons to do anything about it. So that's called illusion. We know it's to be done, but we just won't do it because we're too attached to the material energy. So Krishna says, always think about me. But it is not possible to always think about Krishna unless we become his devotee. And we can't become his devotee unless we actually offer our obeisances to him, homage to him, become subordinate to his instructions. And we can't become subordinate to his instructions unless we actually become surrendered. And then Krishna says, Sarva dharam parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja ahang tvang sarapapevyo mokshisyami ma suchaha. Give up everything else and just surrender to me. And in return, I'll protect you from all sinful reactions. There's nothing to fear. Do not fear. But we've chosen to fear because we don't want to give up what we're attached to. And therefore, we're in anxiety, and we accept our anxiety as real, and therefore we become distracted by so many different things we have to do to take care of our problems, what we think is our problems or other people's problems. We have so much to do in that regard. In other words, we don't know what the priorities are, we don't accept our real priorities. That if we surrender to Krishna and do what he wants us to do, then all the other problems will be, so-called problems, will be solved. At least leave it up to him. Being the all-pervading super soul in everyone's heart, we could probably trust him better than we can trust our ability to solve the problems. Now that doesn't mean that we should do nothing, or there's nothing contribution we can have to solving the problems, but the real problem is that we've forgotten about Krishna. And everyone else's real problem is that they've forgotten about Krishna. And as we're convinced about that, we can't solve our own problems, our real problems, nor can we solve anyone else's problems. Although we may become proud of what a great job we're doing is solving our problems and everyone else's problems, but we don't know what our problems are. If after solving all the problems, we simply create more problems, and we get another birth and death to solve all those problems, then what have we actually accomplished? So, to think about Krishna and become his devotee. We shouldn't think of Krishna like Kamsa, envious of Krishna. Why is Krishna God? Why is he forcing me to think about him, or else I'm in difficulty? We should actually become devotee to Krishna, devotees. Understand how Krishna is the controller, Krishna is the enjoyer, but also Krishna is the friend of everyone. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji, and we should worship Krishna. Unless we hear about Krishna, unless we serve Krishna, unless we remember Krishna with devotion, it's very hard to become Krishna's devotee. It's not possible. So we have to do those activities which will lend us to worshiping Krishna. Mama namaskuru. And we have to follow Krishna's instructions. Otherwise, worship won't really have any meaning. Without worshiping, we can't actually, Krishna won't reveal himself to us, and therefore it's not possible to become his devotee. Unless we're sincerely Krishna's devotee, it's not possible to always think about him, with devotion at least. And if we don't give up all our mental concoctions of what we think is our duty, what we think we're going to do in order to solve our and everyone else's problems, then we're disobeying Krishna's instruction, and we're not surrendering to him. And therefore we'll be filled with all kinds of anxiety, and we'll be always in fearfulness of what the future holds, that my plans will not be fulfilled, I'll be lacking something. Therefore Krishna says, don't bother preaching to the people who are envious of me, or those who aren't interested in austerity. Idam te natapaskaya nabhaktaya kadachana nachashushave vacham nachamam yobisuyati. So this confidential knowledge should never be instructed to those who are idam te natapaskaya, who are not interested in austerity. The main austerity is to put our mind in something other than sense gratification. The main austerity is not to fast ourselves to death like Dhruva Maharaj. We're not asked in this age to eat only the leaves that fall off the trees in our backyard. To take one breath of air every 12 days, while we stand on one foot. But our Dhruva Maharaj did this in Satyuga in order to control his mind. It's a refinement of Satyuga. But we're not in Satyuga, we're in Kali Yuga, where if we have to fast for one day, we're in trouble. Therefore, we have to control the mind and become austere in a different way. Of course, some austerity should be there. We're not eating meat or fish or eggs, we're not having illicit sex, or taking intoxication, or gambling. So in this age, this is a great austerity. And idam te nabhaktaya. So practically no one is a devotee of Krishna. No one wants to be a devotee of Krishna. But we shouldn't try to force people to become a devotee of Krishna. Tell people who first come, unless you become a devotee of Krishna, then there's a place called hell, and Yamaraj is just waiting for you. And he's going to tear you to little pieces in your subtle body over and over again. So surrender to Krishna. So this kind of preaching will not impress most people, because they don't really care. You can't put any more fear into them than they already have. They're afraid of everything, so you just add it to their fear. Idam te nabhaktaya kadachana nacha shushushave vacham, or those who don't want to listen to me, to these instructions. To those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service. Or to one who's envious of me, anushuyave. So Krishna cautions us about trying to force others to become Krishna conscious, but then he says, Ya idam paramangu yam mad bhakteshva vidashiti bhakti mayi param kritvan mame vaishatya samshayaha nachat tasman manusheshu kastyame priya kritamaha bhavitana te me tasmat anyak priyataro bhuve. that for one who preaches this message to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he'll come back to me. So, of course, Krishna has warned us not to preach to the non-devotees. But everyone's a non-devotee, including ourselves. But then he says, anyone who preaches is dear to me. And there can't be anyone more dear to me than that person. So Krishna is telling us, more or less, you try to preach, you're going to get into trouble. And if you don't preach, you'll be in more trouble. So in any case, you're going to be in trouble. You just have to choose what kind of trouble you want to be. To make a non-devotee, including ourselves, into a devotee is quite a bit of difficulty. Because no one came to the material world to surrender, and no one is staying in the material world with the idea of they want to surrender. The last thing most people want to do is surrender to God. They'd rather forget about Him in Kali Yuga, so they can do whatever their senses and mind demand. So they're surrendered, but they've chosen to surrender to their senses and mind till the end of at least Kali Yuga. And then they'll be given the birth of a lower form of life, and they can continue their surrender to their senses and mind. But the idea is it has to be someone has to have enough intelligence or brains to understand that the method in this age is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. The chanting of the holy names, and as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just didn't chant Hare Krishna, he also preached Krishna consciousness to bring people to those who are qualified, to bring them to a higher level of Krishna consciousness. So for the non-devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced Harinam Sankirtan. And then when they became a little attracted, then he gave them a little philosophy. Like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Prakashananda Saraswati, then he gave them some philosophy. And when they became more attracted, then he introduced them to his devotees, and they became devotees, confidential devotees. Eventually, they became confidential devotees, and they became absorbed in spreading the mission of Sankirtan. They became active. Not only they were introduced to Harinam, not only they took up the association of hearing about Krishna and the association of devotees, not only they began practicing themselves, chanting, but they actually started to participate in the spreading of the Krishna consciousness movement actively. So, those who are at least on the level that they've understood there's something about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, that this is the movement in this age, then if we can see if we want to go back to Godhead, there's a path if we want to take it. And there's a path if we want to stay here, even in the Hari Sankirtan movement, on the fringes of it, till the end of Kali Yuga. And then when those little people come to eat us, then we'll probably get more serious at that time. So, somehow or another, those who are here, we become attracted by someone coming out and chanting Hare Krishna, or giving some literature or some prasadam. We've come to associate with the devotees to hear about Krishna. I'm sure we're practicing chanting and reading Prabhupada's books or hearing them, following the regular principles. But now the question is, how active are we actually in trying to spread the Hare Krishna movement? How much are we actually devoted our lives to somehow or another giving our words or our intelligence or our wealth or our lives to propagating Krishna consciousness, to doing the work of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and helping others hear the holy name, and then take some prasadam, come to the temple, hear the philosophy, appropriately presented to them, and then becoming inspired to take up the process themselves, and then becoming interested in participating actively themselves in propagating Krishna consciousness. Or as Prabhupada wrote to me one time, as I've said before, that I was imagining that there was some quick way of becoming Krishna conscious, and Prabhupada wrote me a letter that you should go out and distribute Bhagavad Gitas, or you should spread the message of Bhagavad Gita. And then he said in the second paragraph that in San Francisco this week, we had Rath Yatra, and 10,000 boys and girls were chanting and dancing in full spiritual ecstasy. And the boys and girls in your country are generally good souls. That's why they've taken birth in such a nice country. Similarly, I've heard in New York in just 2 weeks they've distributed 3,000 Back to Godheads. And then in Buffalo you're also distributing Back to Godhead very nicely. So please continue in this way, and your success in life is assured. As Krishna sees that you're working seriously to bring his other children back to the spiritual kingdom, then he'll bestow all his blessings upon you. That Krishna is never ungrateful for efforts to serve him, rest assured. So that applies to all of us. It's not that if Prabhupada was telling me that if I became serious about Krishna, spreading Krishna consciousness, then I'd go back, Krishna would give me his blessings. But if anyone else became serious, Krishna would just neglect them. He's only interested in myself spreading Krishna consciousness. It's the same thing Krishna said 5,000 years ago. The same thing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Yari Deka Tari Kaha Krishna Upadesh Amar Agai Guruhana Tari Desh. That whoever you meet, then you should tell them about Krishna. Yari Deka, anyone who see. Anyone who see, Deka means to see. Tarikaha, you should tell them about Krishna Upadesh, about the instructions coming from Krishna that will elevate them to a higher level of Krishna consciousness. Amar Agaya, this is my order to everyone. Amar Guru, you become Guru in that way, and Amar Agaya Guru Tare Desh, and deliver wherever you are. So that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, that was Krishna's instruction, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction, that was Prabhupada's instruction, that was Srila Prabhupada's success. And if we want to become successful too, we have to do the same thing. Now, if we're not sufficiently convinced, then we should study the books more. We should chant our rounds better. We should associate with the devotees. We may even go out and try and preaching a little bit. And if we can't do that, we're not interested in doing that, then we should, well, what is there? Just come in here, take prasadam. And maybe one day we'll become convinced about improving our sadhana and our association of devotees, so that the association of devotees becomes so nice that we're inspired to go out and get more devotees to come and associate with the devotees. Because the more devotees there is, the nicer it is. So we see it's not only Krishna's interest, but it's our interest too, to have more and more devotees to serve. But if we think, oh, it's too much trouble, too many people come, so much cooking has to be done, got to tell so many people, give them so many instructions, and etc. Then we'll stay on the outside. Hopefully we don't go too far on the outside. That someone has to come and tell us, come to the temple and chant Hare Krishna. That somehow or another, we one day meet a devotee on the street and they give us a little prasadam, and then we went, oh, Krishna, I remember. I used to be part of that movement too. Or that we're coming to the temple and we're hearing about Krishna, but we don't take it seriously enough to practice seriously. And because we don't practice seriously, we don't develop loving relationships with the devotees, we don't experience Krishna, therefore we never become that determined to actually spread Krishna consciousness. And therefore we never really put ourselves in any difficulty where we'll have to rely upon Krishna in order to take shelter of him, and therefore improve our devotional service significantly. So that's up to us. It's up to the leadership to make a plan so everyone can, as easily as possible, engage in the preaching work, and it's up to us to engage in the preaching work somehow or another. Because otherwise, in the Kali Yuga, it's very hard to stay in one place for too long. Unless we try and go back to Godhead, the forces of going backwards are quite strong also. If we're not trying to go forward, then as we can see, gradually the devotees generally go backwards. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
I have two questions that are related.
Hopefully I have two answers that are related.
The first one is how to develop an urgency to organize our lives so that we can think of Krishna all day.
Preach.
And the second one is how can a grihastha organize his life in order to think of Krishna all day, considering that most of his day he works for a company or another?
Well, it depends how anxious you want to become to obtain Krishna.
That's the first question.
Yes, that depends how serious you want to become. And how much. So it's generally gradual process. But for grihastha, everyone has to, as much as possible, engage themselves in the Sankirtan mission. So it depends what your ashram is. So we can engage either our words, which is probably the easiest, saying something nice about Krishna or speaking about Krishna. And then if we become sufficiently convinced, we might engage our wealth in Krishna's service. Or our intelligence, actually. I guess intelligence comes. We offer voluntarily service with our intelligence. And if we become more convinced after using our intelligence, then we offer more of our wealth, whatever assets we have, engage them in the Sankirtan movement. And if we become more convinced than that, we offer everything we have, 24 hours a day. So at least we should begin with our words, say something nice about the devotees and Krishna. Practice doing that. And then when we do that, trying to use our intelligence, at least try to assist the Sankirtan movement spreading with our intelligence, offer our talents, our abilities. And when we become more serious about that, then offer whatever assets we have. And then eventually we'll want to offer our whole lives because we have nothing else to offer. And grihastha is the same thing, it doesn't matter. Grihastha, vanaprastha, brahmachari, sannyasi, it's the same process. Maybe slightly different. Supposedly the grihasthas are supposed to have more wealth than the brahmacharis and the sannyasis, but that's not always the case in Kali Yuga. But in any case, grihasthas, they're supposed to offer their words, their intelligence, their wealth, regularly at least, and try to surrender as much as our lives as we're aware of to Krishna service. Does that answer your question? Yes.
In the purport of the 37th text, Srila Prabhupada says that whoever comes to our society automatically develops Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, first you got to come to the society. It's not so easy to come to the society. It's a question of not only physically coming here with the body, that's sometimes difficult enough, but even your body's here, the question is where our mind and intelligence are. We bring our mind and intelligence here, then it's naturally we become devotees. We follow the process. In other words, unless we're willing to follow the process, then we won't really bring our mind and intelligence here. Anything else? Yes?
How do you see the Hare Krishna movement in Romania?
How do I see it? Well, the only thing I can see is right before me. So that's good. We can see that there is a Hare Krishna movement in the Media. The question is, every movement, especially nowadays, we have to start moving a little bit more. Then it's a movement, but the only question is we have to consider how much it's moving. So I'm sure everyone's trying to do the best they can, but probably everyone knows we could do a little bit better. So that's the whole point, is try to do a little bit better. start moving a little in the right, more in the right direction and a little faster. Make sure we're in the right direction, and make sure that we're going as quickly as possible as we can. How do you see the movement of the Hare Krishna movement in Romania?
It is the first spiritual movement that I joined ever in this form.
I hope hopefully it's the last. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.